This video explains how to insert data, insert formulas and functions, insert columns, rows, copy data, format cells for data type and alignment, and to format borders. To begin inserting data into a spreadsheet, you can use your cursor to click on the cell that you wish to begin. As best practice, it's best to begin with a title in the first column, first row. Then you can begin to enter the headings. For instance, we will enter the months across the columns. Click on one of the cells. See the little black box in the corner? You can position your cursor over it until you see the perpendicular symbol. Left click and then drag across the columns. Notice the little icon displaying the months that it will be entering for you, and then you simply let go. It auto-fills the rest of the months. And now we're going to enter a few rows of department categories. Boating, marine, camping/outdoors, electronics, fan shop. Remember that you can use your enter key to move to the next row, or you can simply press the down key. Now notice after entering some of the data, the columns can be hidden, such as September, cannot see an R, or department, it stops at ME. If you click on it, you'll notice that the whole word is there. The columns need to be changed. Also notice boating, marine, camping, outdoors overlaps onto the second column. You can either hold down your left click and drag the columns over. Notice the perpendicular line. Or you can simply place your cursor over between the column A and column B over the line and double click, and then it automatically chooses the best selection for you. You can also do the row size the same way. You can position your cursor, hold the left click button, and drag it down. If you'd like to keep them all the same, you can highlight all of the rows that will have your data, right click, choose row height, and we'll set it to 20, hit OK, and you notice the row height change for all that we selected. I'm going to move on to the copy paste function. You can copy and paste the data from one or two cells into another cell. So if I want to copy this row, you must first select the data to be copied. Notice the line changes. You can position where you'd like it to go, left click again, and hit paste from the Home tab. If you're familiar with shortcuts on your keyboard, you can also use the Control-C to copy and then Control-V to paste. The same method works for cut and paste as well. You can find the cut option at the top of the ribbon, right above where the copy function was. You can also use the Control-X keys on your keyboard if you like to use the shortcuts. Just remember the difference between cut and copy. If you copy something, it will leave the data in the original cell and then you can paste it into another cell. If you cut something, then the data will be removed from the original cell and you can paste it into another cell location. So, the main purpose of Excel is to allow you to enter your data and then calculate it. Remember that you can use Excel as a calculator. Let's enter some numbers. Some unrealistic numbers. We'll add a total column. So now we want to sum the total department figures for January. To do that, you can insert a function to get your formula. There's two ways you can do it. You can either use the insert function feature here. We're going to sum. So click OK. If you need to, you can use your left click button and move this window out of your way. And it shows us number B3:B7. And it gives you an example, 3, 2, 4,200, 800. It's going to sum all of the numbers from B3 all the way through B7, which is what we want to do. you simply click OK, and it sums the total for you. And since we are only summing this column, I'll demonstrate manually how to enter the function. All formulas begin with an equal sign. Hit the equal sign. This tells Excel you want it to calculate something. Sum, parentheses, C3, colon, C7. Close the parenthesis, hit enter, and it automatically sums it for you. And if you click in the box of your total, notice that your formula bar shows the function here at the top. Now, just as we did the autofill for the months, you can also do an autofill for calculations. I'm going to click over to sheet 1 down here where we already have some data entered. You can enter the function sum of B5 through B18. I use my cursor to come back up. Notice a little perpendicular line. Hold my left click down, drag it across the columns. If you click within each column, you notice it sums D5 through D18, which means it updated the calculation to include whatever column that it was in, which is exactly what we want it to do. Now, do you notice this C19 column? A bunch of number signs. Yet when you look up here in the formula bar, the calculation is correct. This means the column is not wide enough. So to align the column, remember that you can click on the button, click on the line, and drag it over. Or you can simply double click to auto align the column. Now you can also add borders to the data to resemble a table or separate data into sections. If you noticed in this example, we've already got some borders on row 4, top and bottom, and then also on row 19, the top and bottom. To include a border, you highlight the data you want with a border, and notice here at the top there's a shortcut function. You can click the drop down arrow next to the symbol, and you can select which ones you want, a bottom, top, left, or right. Or you can have predefined all just outside or a thick and choose the options. You can also draw your own, change the color or even the style. For this, we'll put a thick box around only the departments. Once you select off of it, you can see the thick border. Now these cells are also already formatted. I'm going to click back over to sheet 2 where we had our data a second ago. Let's delete these rows. And to delete, I'm simply clicking on the row number to select the entire row and hitting the delete key on the keyboard. Now to format cells, you can change the font style, the size, or format the numbers into currency or date and time, or many different options. For this particular purpose, I'm going to highlight, because of course we have to highlight our data to tell it what we want to format. There's a shortcut on your Home tab. Select the drop down and we'll change it to currency. It automatically adds decimal points and $sign. If in case you were using something in particular with decimal points, you can click on these shortcuts here where my cursor is at. There's increase decimal, or you can click on decrease decimal. You can also click these drop down buttons in the bottom corners of each of these tabs, and they'll take you to the Format Cells box. Once you click on one of them, you can change the category here for whatever particular one you need. You can also change the alignment. This gives you an example over here. If you want to change the to center, if you want it centered within the row, which is what we have selected, you can also do the columns the same way. If you have a long title, you can wrap text, which means it stays in that particular cell. You can make the row wider and wrap the text around. You can change the font. Here's the style of regular bold, italicize it. Change the size, you can change color. This is also the border category, or you can fill the background of a cell. as an example of merge and center, which is a good one that I like to use. Let me click back over to sheet 1. We have the title here, Charlie's Department Store. I want it to center across the entire table. I use my mouse and left click, highlight all the way from A1 to AM because that is the ending right here. While it's highlighted, you can click on Merge and Center. Notice that it centers it, it puts it in the middle. You can do the same thing for the little subcategory, Sales by Month. Merge and center. This concludes the video on alignment and formatting.